let's get into it. So today we're going to be looking at cost reduction and control. Cost reduction and control. So before I start, real quick, does anybody here have a business? Hi, if you can hear me. I'd love today's class to be as interactive as possible. Does anybody here
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
business? Okay, you have a business.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So has there been any time like in your business that you thought about how, yeah, you are running a business, running in Nigeria where the economy is not stable. So have you ever thought about controlling your costs, or trying to make sure that costs don't choke you to the point that you are not making profit and you're not driving away customers? How did you do it? Can you explain what exactly is your business? And if you have been in that scenario, can you just give us a brief run through?
Okay, ma'am. So what I do is I'm a baker. So I'm just coming up. So it's not really that.
Okay. Okay.
So, so there was a particular time whereby the cost of groundnut oil was too high and
Okay.
it affected the snacks that I normally do. So it got to a stage and I was not really seeing profit. So I had to just stop. So the only one I do is based on order. So once you order for it, I'll
Okay.
give you. But I don't sell as per maybe commercial activity like
Yeah.
maybe selling every day. No, I don't do that for that
Okay.
particular thing. So
Yeah, can you please mute your mic? Thank you. Okay, Faith, please go on.
so that was how it is there. So because the thing was I was not really seeing my gain at all. It didn't really affected me. So it was after some time now the cost of groundnut oil now reduced. So now I can do both selling every day and also based on other things. So that was how I was able to manage it.
All right. Thank
So
you very much. Thank you for that scenario. Like, this has given me a very good opening. So according to you, you want a very key ingredient that you use when you bake, like the price went up and you were losing profits because you did not want to increase your price to an extent that your customers will run away from you. So the best alternative to control your cost was to just only produce when it is needed. Like you were doing pre-orders, right? You're taking pre-orders, just like just-in-time system that we talked about at one point. So yeah, thank you very much. Now that is a good example of cost control. So in most cases, organizations during economic recessions or bad economic conditions, basically like inflation and the rest, it will reduce the demand for your product, right? Because one, customers, there is recession, customers are not even really seeing money, right, that they want to use to pay. So aside from that, your own listen cost is going up, so you cannot really produce what they can afford at this point. So in cases like this, cost control might not be sufficient because, as you said, you had to even stop for a while. The only thing you were doing was when people ordered it, just so that you'd be able to control your cost. You were not doing in commercial quantities because you did not want to make a loss, right? So, what if you were running the kind of business that cannot afford to shut down? What if you were running the type of business that was in a that was in a competitive environment, and if you stop, your customers will go elsewhere, and both you will not even see pre-order if they want pre-order, so they will just go like to a place that they believe is reliable and they will always meet demand at every time. So, or what if you could not afford to shut down your business because maybe you have too much relying on it and you really had to come up with a solution? Cost reduction, sorry, cost control there, which you try to do, might not be very, or might not be enough for your survival. So that is where cost reduction comes in. So cost control, let me define cost control before I go into cost reduction. When you talk about cost control, you have a budget, you have a profit that you try to make every year or every period, as the case may be. And when you do cost control, you're just trying to make sure that you stay within that cost. You don't spend more than that, so that when you make your sales, you're getting your profit. That is cost control. So you probably have things in places, you use a budget, you have standard costs, you do things like that to make sure that you are sticking to that your standard. You are not going outside that cost. However, when things get very tough, you might now be thinking of cost reduction. So what is cost reduction? So cost reduction, according to the Chartered Institute of Management Accounting, is the real and permanent savings in project operation cost by achieving a reduced cost without impairing customer satisfaction. Now, to you, you probably sat down and you thought about the fact that without oil, it is a key ingredient. Without oil, you might not really meet the quality that you were giving your customers. So what's the point in baking? However, if you were a bigger business or you wanted to go very hard, you might have looked for an alternative to oil, a cheaper alternative to oil, or you might have done deeper research to find a way that you get oil that is cheaper but will not compromise that quality that you are giving your customers. So that is what cost reduction is. So in this case, you are trying to lower your cost without compromising quality. Now let's go outside. Or does anybody else have a business here? Let's use that. Let's use another business to explain it. Hi, I'm Veronica or Aliyah. Does anybody else have a business? Let's use another business to explain it. Hello. Can anyone hear me? All right. So I take it the others cannot hear me. So let's just go on. Now let me give you one more example of cost reduction and cost control so you understand it very well before I move on. Now imagine you as let's say you have a child or a mother has a child and that mother gives her child like 5,000 naira every week as allowance, right? So when it comes to cost control, should let's use this instead. A father gives his daughter 10,000 naira every week for her transport to school, right? Let's say she takes keke and she needs like 2,000 naira every day to spend on keke. So cost control is making sure that she follows the route she's supposed to follow every day to make sure she doesn't exceed that 10K, right? To make sure that she gets to school on time, she doesn't pass another route, and she's spending only that 10,000. That is cost control. So if she spends 11,000 in 1 week, why? Why did you spend 11,000? Where did you pass? Things like that. So strictly monitoring it, that is cost control. However, cost reduction would mean probably looking for a way that she'll still get to school on time. She'll still be as comfortable as she was, or even more comfortable than she was when she was using keke, and you spend less. So let's say maybe there was now a school bus or an alternative, which is a school bus, and then they had to pay per term. But when you divide it, it's about 6,000 naira per week. That is a way to achieve lower costs without compromising quality. So in essence, cost control is basically monitoring costs, like the just to make sure that your actual cost does not exceed your budgeted cost. However, when things become tighter, you might want to reduce cost, but then you'll be thinking about quality. You don't want to send your customers away. So cost reduction now offers the option of reducing those costs. However, like it's a permanent reduction, but you make sure that you are not compromising quality. So before I explain the types of cost reduction programs, does anybody have a question? Okay, I take it there are no questions. Now, types of cost reduction programs. Basically, when do you do cost reduction? When do you think it is necessary to do cost reduction? So the first one is the crash program. It is not planned or structured. You just do it as a reaction to things like already going bad. So in your case, now that for instance, when you saw that you were losing profits or you were making a loss because the prices of oil went up and stuff, Adibin, you took a cost reduction. Maybe you started using butter. I know it is realistically, but I don't think butter is cheaper than oil in Nigeria. I'm just using that as an example. So maybe butter was cheaper and it did not compromise your quality or your taste. If you had maybe pivoted to that, or you start using something else and you still had your quality and everything, that would be a reactive approach. So that would be, in this case, a crash program, right? You are diverting at the point where things go hard. You're initially using something, but then you had to take measures when things got hard. So examples of when organizations do this, when probably they retrench some staff. They see that, okay, this staff is not even really adding to anything, they're just increasing our operational costs. They send them off. That is a reactive approach. Or they defer some capital expenditure that they are supposed to make. Maybe they were supposed to buy a new vehicle for the business or whatever, and then they decide to cut it at that point. I mean, it's not really going to reduce or add to the value of what they are producing at that moment, and it is something they can afford to do. So that is one way of cost reduction, which is reactive. The main thing here about the crash program, is that it is reactive. It is when some things are already going bad and you want to find a way to cut or reduce costs immediately. That is when the crash program happens. However, the planned program is proactive in nature. So here you already foresee it, or before it even happens, you decide that let me do it. For instance, it's like a lot of companies today adopting solar panels for electricity generation, right? So yeah, the prices of, you can say, okay, you might look at it as a crash program because the prices of electricity is already going up. But there were companies that started using solar even before the price of electricity started going up, like the companies that were already using solar panels. So those ones saw it as a measure. They saw it, oh, it is proactive, or they probably saw it that our company will grow, our business will grow, and would need more electricity. And then there, with the way Nigeria operates, electricity might even be more expensive then. So why not take this decision now? Let's cut costs permanently. So they they just went into it, and they went into solar, using solar panels. So that is the planned program. That one is proactive in nature. Okay, you can look at this. We have some differences here. So cost control ensures that actual costs conform to target. It uses standard costing and budgetary control, as I explained earlier, and it is just there to maintain the existing cost level. So you just want to make sure that you are not exceeding the current cost. However, for cost reduction, it is to achieve permanent reduction in cost. It does not impair the quality or efficiency, and it goes beyond just monitoring and making sure that you're sticking to your standard. Now, cost reduction matters because cost control alone cannot guarantee firm survival during economic recession. So when demand falls and competition intensifies, now in times of recession, your demand will definitely go down because people cannot afford what you're producing anymore. So in this case, you have to do more than just make sure you don't exceed your cost. You have to make sure you bring that cost down so that you can offer them prices that they can afford. Right. So organizations must actively reduce costs. They must maintain quality because you don't want to start giving them lower quality just because you want them to be able to afford it. Right. Customer satisfaction is non-negotiable. You must offer them that value, and permanent solutions are required. So you should not be thinking if the following year you're now going back to your former cost. It was not cost reduction. Then it was just cost control because we're just doing it in the moment. So cost reduction can be applied anywhere, right? You can apply it when you are designing the product. So it might be when you are designing the product that you sit down and say, okay, you know what, let's try to make sure, if maybe you were already producing another variant of that product before and you want to produce a new variant. So at the production say or design stage of producing the new variant, you might sit down and look for alternatives that will reduce the costs compared to what you produced during the first one. Then the production process stage, when you are actually producing it, here you might look at the production methods that you use. Sometimes it's not just the materials that make things expensive, right? It could be the methods that you also use. So you can look for alternative methods and workflows to reduce cost. And then during facility acquisition stage, so just like the production process stage, here you want to make sure that you're using the kind of machines, the kind of you're using machinery and facility that would that will make production efficient and in a way reduce cost, right? Because when you are reducing, when you are efficient, when there is no much idle time, when workers are in conducive working environment and things like that, you are able to reduce costs because they are the costs that are attributed to wastage is actually huge. So if you can reduce that, that's also part of cost reduction. So there are areas that, or look at there are a lot of things you can do to reduce costs. So you can use cheaper materials. Yes, use cheaper materials without impairing specifications. So it's just like using light hydroelectric hydroelectric, yeah, hydroelectric lights, yes, using that and using solar. So if you're using those two, comparing those two, they might carry the same kind of appliances and everything, but solar is cheaper. Do you understand? So you're using the same source, you're using the same source to generate the light, you're using the same material, but you're not impairing the quality of what they do. Yes. So reduce ordering and holding costs. Yes. So for ordering costs is just like when two people order from the same person. So maybe you order food from the same vendor, not using child acquaintance, because those ones add their delivery cost to everything you order. But say two of you want to order from a friend that lives far from you. If you both order together, you are going to split the delivery cost. Or even see it as you are going somewhere with your friend and you both use the same ride, right? Uber is only going to charge you for they are going to charge you per that ride. They're not going to say, oh, because there were 2 passengers or 3 passengers in the car, we charge for 3 passengers. Do you understand? So in that case, so it's just like when you're ordering goods from you can try to make sure that you order in bulk so that the number of times you order will reduce. And because you're paying the same, if you're ordering one or you're ordering 10, you're paying the same ordering cost. So reducing ordering cost means trying to make sure that you order in bulk so that it will reduce how much you pay on each item. Then as for holding costs, here you can do things like maybe you can use a just-in-time system, or you can use pre-orders so that you only have to keep very small materials, right? Holding cost means what you pay to store to keep those materials. So the cost of renting the warehouse and everything, if you want to reduce that, there are things that you might just make sure that okay, it's only when customers actually need them. You try to forecast demand, you prepare for it, although you can still keep small to prevent scarcity. But when you're doing that, even while doing that, to make sure that make sure that you don't hold them for too long, that they're going to acquire too much cost. Then reduce reorder period or lead time. What is lead time? That means the time that it takes between when customers need it or when you need it and when your supplier would deliver, right? So in this case, since you're even running, as what we discussed earlier, since you're even running a system where it is where your customers need it, that when your customers need, you give it to them. So you also want to reduce the time that it takes for your supplier to give it to you. So maybe look for a supplier that is closer and will still offer you the same quantity. Then control overtime work. So most times you ask your workers to work overtime because there were things that you could have done during the day that you did not do, right? So if there is a way that you can control idle time during the day so that they actually work during hours and they make use of that time you are paying them for during the day, so that they don't have to work overtime where you now have to pay extra because they are staying late. Adopt merit rating for promotion. So this is also a way of making sure that your employees are efficient. So if you are, you are giving them promotions and incentives based on how efficient they are, they want to do well, and you'll be reducing costs that way. Then ensure adequate utilization of production capacity. So you want to make sure that you are producing to the fullest. You're producing as much, you're not wasting capacity, because if you have a very big space and you're not using everything, you're paying rent on everything. So you're just wasting money. That's another thing that is taking up costs, right? Then eliminate non-value added time. That means reduce activities that don't add customer values. There are a lot of things that organizations do, either during the production process or distribution process, or any process at all that doesn't add value to what the customer wants. Try to reduce that. And before we go into the next concept, does anybody have a question? Do you have any questions, or should I ask questions? I'm even going to ask questions today. Okay, first, if you can hear me, can someone just signify? I need to be sure you can still hear me. All right. Okay. So you can still hear me. All right. So I'm going to call anybody at all. Quickly, let me before I call, I need someone to volunteer. Can anybody give me a brief difference between cost control and cost reduction? Difference between cost control and cost reduction. Okay, No volunteers. Hi, Aliyah. Good evening. Can you hear me? I mean, you. Okay, Faith, please go ahead.
Okay, ma.
Faith, I cannot hear you. Can you
Um,
speak?
hello, can you hear me, ma?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, what I understand is first control. It ensures that actual cost must conform to the target,
Okay.
and also it helps in maintaining existing cost level.
Yes.
While cost reduction, it achieves permanent cost reduction, and
Okay.
it does not impair quality, and it does
Ye-
not bring down quality.
Yes.
Or
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Abida, do you want to say anything? Why is your hand still up? Thank you very much, Faith. Okay. I'm still going to call Aliyah anyway. Aliyah, hi. Can you give us two measures that organization can take to reduce costs for cost reduction? I mean, you raised up your hand that you can hear me. Okay.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Number one, you reduce your ordering cost or your holding cost,
Okay.
and number two, probably reduce your reorder or lead time, your reorder level or your lead time.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So,
Okay. So we can move now. I've noted the people that answered questions. So if you have not answered, you're going to answer next time I ask. So let's go to value analysis. In fact, if I'm asking now, so when you hear the word value, what does it mean to you, either as a customer or as a business owner? In fact, those are two different questions. So let's start with as a customer. What does value mean to you? Hi, Motunrayo. Good evening. I know you are just joining the class, but can you try? We are just starting this concept anyway. So when you hear the word value as a customer, what does it mean to you? Motunrayo, good evening. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll take it. He or she cannot hear me. Aliyah, you were going to say something earlier. Sorry for cutting you short. Please go ahead.
value to a customer. This is
Yes.
the importance, let me say the importance or satisfaction derived from the purchase of a product, or the importance attached to the purchase of a product.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
to a consumer.
Okay. Okay. All right. Veronica, what does value mean to you as a business owner? Like, are you still here? Oluwashe, good evening. What does, is she on the call? Okay, I think she left. Hi, Oluwayemi Taiwo. I can see Oluwayemi Taiwo. Good evening. What does value mean to you as a business owner?
um it can mean the worth of something, the worth of an item or a service.
Okay, worth. Yes, I love that word. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aliyah. Thank you. So yes, you have both used listen, what you are deriving right from a product if you're a customer, or the worth of an item that you give that you are offering to your customers. That is value. That's simply the definition. So I'm coming. Okay. So when you talk about value, you can look at value. If you want to look at it from a mathematical point of view, you can say value is the function that a product serves divided by the costs that you're paying for it. So let's look at it this way. I want to use a scenario or a yeah, let me use a scenario to explain what value means before we go into what we actually even want to talk about. So imagine two phones, phone A and phone B. I'm not going to call any phone brand so that I don't drag anybody's phone. Now, if you are using, let's say, phone A and phone B, phone A offers about five features, like their selling point is on five specific features. So it has very strong battery, let's say like 6,000 mAh, and it has a very good camera quality front and back. It has dual SIM ports. You can write this down, right? It has dual SIM ports. It has very good memory space, like it has good memory space, and the UI is very, very, the user interface is very easy to use, very interactive. Now, phone B, on the other hand, has 10 features, right? 10 features. However, like 10 of out of those 10, 5 is the same thing as phone A. The remaining 5 now are probably, there is this gaming console that you can use if you want to play games with it. Then it has like a camera quality that phone A doesn't have, maybe that videographers can use to zoom in and out. I mean, a normal person would not need it, but someone that does videography would need it, right? And then things like that, just enhanced features, like they are similar to what phone A has, but just like enhanced. So okay, phone A also has good camera quality, but phone B probably has slow-mo version or something like that. Now, they both cost the same amount. They're from different brands, but they both cost the same amount, 100K. So when you look at it simply, you'd say the value of phone B is obviously greater than that of phone A. But then it depends on what the customers want. So if your target market is videographers and gamers, then yes, phone B will offer higher value to them, because obviously it has everything phone A has, and it has like enhanced quality that will help them in their own day-to-day life. However, if your customer base is filled with probably old people that are just learning to use Android phones, or people that really just need it to be able to take fine pictures, do snaps, and send messages or receive calls, phone A is enough for them. To them, you see, having those gaming qualities and everything will just make the user interface confusing, and it will be harder for them to use it. So to them, that phone A has more value than phone B, because those extra features in phone B is even just reducing the watts for them. So so sorry, in essence, what I'm trying to say is value is from the perspective of the cost of the consumer, of the customer. So for you as a business owner to even determine that this thing has value, you have to do serious market analysis, because you can only say something is offering, you're offering value if it is what your customer wants. So if you're just bombarding them with things they don't want, and you're saying, oh, I'm offering value, why are they not buying it? It might not be something they even need. To them, it is just extra for nothing, right? So that is that. Now let's talk about value analysis. From the definition we have here, it is a systematic interdisciplinary examination of specific factors affecting the cost of a product or service in order to devise means of achieving the specific purpose most economically at the required standard of quality or reliability. Reliability, that is a lot. Now, the purpose basically is to improve the product or process value by understanding components and costs. So when you talk about value analysis, you are just breaking down, you want to break down the components of that product and look at, okay, what's like what exactly is the value that this product is bringing? These components that are here, how are each of them contributing to that value, right? So okay, the purpose of this phone, according to my market, the value they want is just to make calls. So you look at it, when you look at it and you see supersonic camera, how is that assisting them with making calls? You can remove that. Okay, you look at it, you see this game that most of them don't even play, because the ratings is very, that they don't even play it, right? They just need it to be able to make calls and send WhatsApp or things like that. You remove all those things. That's what value analysis is. So most cases, value analysis happens when the product is already in market. You already offer that service, or you already sell that product. However, you now, like, maybe because you realize that demand was going down and everything, right? So you want to look at, why is there a way I can reduce the cost of this product, so that I'll be able to reduce price for them and they'll actually want it, right? Is there a way I can do that without compromising the value? So the first thing you do, what exactly is the value they are deriving from it? Then after getting that, you now look at each of the components of that product and say which one is not, you know, adding to it, which one is not contributing anything, you remove it. That is what value analysis is. So there are three fundamental concepts, as I explained. Value is equal to function or customer satisfaction divided by cost. The function is the effect produced by a product to satisfy customer needs. And a need is something necessary or desired by the customers. I'm sure you know all of this from economics. Now, these are the steps in value analysis. So first, you do orientation or preparation, right? Of course, you prepare for anything you want to do. What are you going to be doing? Okay, when I want to do this value analysis, I'm going to gather information. I'm going to talk to my customers. What is the point of this? You do all of that. It's basically the planning stage. That's what step one is. Now, step two is where you actually gather the information from your customers. You talk to them. You do market surveys. That's why you see a lot of surveys. You see all these apps are always disturbing you to rate them, right? Then step three, you do analysis. That's where you break down the components of the product. You see what exactly is not adding value or what is adding value to that product. And then the step four is innovation or creativity. This is where you get creative. Okay, so how do I reduce or how do I remove this thing, or how do I remove cost, or how do I remove something from a product that it's not compromise the quality and to still serve the value that I want. So you can make it, it depends on what the customer wants really. Then you do evaluation. So here, of course, after you remove or you add whatever you do, or you change whatever you change from the product, you have to evaluate it. So you have look at what your plan at the beginning, look at what you prepared for, and look at the outcome you currently have, and then you implement. You send it out back into the market, and then you monitor it over the years. Did it increase demand for it? Did it improve the customers ratings? Do they enjoy it better now? That's what it is. And I also to understand that value as a concept applies to everything. It's not just products. It could apply to movies, could apply to anything at all. Imagine there are some at one point we started complaining, oh, we are not seeing this in movies, or we are beginning to see too much of this. New movies will come up and then they'll say, okay, just like before, you hardly see a disabled person acting or things like that. And then, companies started saying, this movie production companies started saying, okay, they want to see representation of this, or want to see more representation of women acting, or want to see representation of women doing this. And then so you see companies doing diversity hires, you see them doing things like so. All of this, like, value to people might come in different ways. There might be two companies offering me the exact same thing, and I'll say I'm going to go with this company because I see the way they treat their employees. So to me, value is not just buying from them, it is buying from them and having the conscience that I'm giving my money to somebody that treats its employees well. Do you understand? So value goes beyond just what you receive. Okay, so from a producer's perspective, it is measured by the product's worth divided by the price paid for it. So how much are you receiving for it, and how much it cost you to give them? That's the value to a producer. But at the end of the day, the value that is even important is the one that is the one from your customer's perspective, because at the end of the day, you are selling to them. So benefits of value analysis. One, high customer orientation. So it focuses on what the customer wants, which is the point of any business, really. I mean, yes, you want to make profits, but if your customer does not need it, if the market is not in need of that item, or if the market is not satisfied with what you are giving them, you are not going to go anywhere in your business, right? So value analysis makes sure that you focus on what the customer wants. Yes, cost reduction. So by making sure that you are only focusing on value, you are eliminating costs that are not necessary. So it is a cost reduction strategy. Innovation and competitive advantage. So in a bid to offer value to your customers, yeah, you have to get creative, you have to get innovative, right? So it is when you do things like this that it's at the end of the day, you are building your company as a whole, you are growing with it. Then systematic improvements, because sometimes it's not just the components you are removing. Sometimes you are changing the way you also do your things, you're changing your system, you're changing your processes. So you would also be improving as a company when you focus on value. So to avoid successful application, one, you avoid generalization. So don't say just because this worked once or it worked for this company, it will work for mine too. You have to be very specific. You have to make sure that you do your analysis very well. Then be cost conscious. Yes, you have to collect, determine, and examine. I mean, that's the point anyway. You want to make sure that okay, you're still rendering value, still offering value to your customers at a very good price, right? So another thing you want to do during value analysis, make sure that you're conscious of all the costs that you are both reducing or adding, right? Use quality sources, of course. You should always source for information from the best possible source, and that is value analysis. Does anybody have does anybody have any question so far?
No, ma.
All right, thank you very much. Now, value engineering. I'm going to make this as short as possible. So, value engineering, according to CIMA, is a redesign of an activity, product, or service so that the value to customer is enhanced while costs are reduced. I know it sounds similar to value analysis. So, it is an organized approach to the identification and elimination of unnecessary costs. Honestly, in essence, I'm going to say it is somewhat similar to value analysis. The only difference here is that value analysis happens throughout the life cycle of that product. So even before you produce it, during value analysis, the product is already out there. It is already in the market, right? They're already you are, but the thing is, you have to come back and I'll say, okay, my demand is going down, or even if demand is not going down, you want to offer more so that you can get more demand. You can get more people to buy your product. That's what value analysis. So that's when you now break down the components and then you enhance it. But in value engineering, right from when you design it, from the beginning, you already look at what. So you can look at it from the point of Apple, for instance, right? So when they started from the beginning, they knew what they were after, and then they probably studied Android phones, right? Other Android phones, and said, okay, this is what those phones are lacking, or this is probably something customers would love. So they did their engineering they did their own value engineering from the beginning, right, before they even designed it. And then as they release every edition, they make sure that they continue to build each product, each edition from the scratch with value in mind. What are they offering? Are they removing anything that customers do not need from it? They do all of that from the beginning. So now, the main point here, the focal point of this is that its value engineering serves to remove unnecessary cost right from the beginning of the lifetime of that business. So, a cost is unnecessary if it does not provide use, life, quality, appearance, customer features, customer satisfaction. Since this is all self-explanatory. So if it's not producing all of this, it's not adding any of this that means it's not adding value, because if it does one, of course, if it is of no use, why are you even making it in the first place? If it does not offer any, life, as in you cannot use it for a certain period of time, why are you producing it, right? If it does not have quality, if it does not show, because to some people appearance really matters, right? Then customer features and customer satisfaction, if it's not offering any of these, you have to eliminate it. Now, these are some of the activities during value engineering, right? One, you preparing and administering maintenance programs. Forecasting expenditure. Yes, forecasting is a very big part of value engineering. As I said, it starts from the beginning. So you already see it from the future that this would be of no use to this product. So you remove it, right? Advising on cost limits and budgets, advising on cash flow forecasting, advising on life cycle cost and life cycle years. So you are following it from the beginning, from the design stage to the maturity stage, or if it is going to even decline, right? Then you do cost analysis also, a cost benefit analysis. Here you're looking at, okay, how much am I going to even get from this product? From you look at it from your own perspective, of what value is it to you? If it is not going to benefit you as much as you're going to spend on it, there's no need to even offer it in the first place, right? And estimating, you do a lot of investment appraisal, and you do a lot of cost planning. Okay, so that is everything on both value analysis and value engineering so far. Do you have any questions? Okay, so let's do our Q&A once again. Let me start with Abida. Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. So what do you think is the difference between value engineering and value analysis? What is the main difference between the both of them? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can hear you.
Okay, so what is the difference between value engineering and value analysis?
Value analysis like improve product and process,
Okay,
and value engineering is like redesigning of the product or services.
okay, okay. That's one way to put it. Thank you. You have the idea. Can anybody put it in a more structured format? Motunra, your hi. Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. Faith, hi. Can you help with that?
Yes, ma'am. Value analysis. What I understand is it's improve product and makes and gives understanding on component and cost. While
Okay.
value engineering identifies cost and it helps in eliminating unnecessary costs that adds no value
All
to
right.
the
Thank you to the product. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Let me see. Should I ask any other question? Okay. Let me see. Okay. Um, I think let me see who else is on in my class. Okay. Alia, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you own a business?
Ma?
Do you own a business?
Not really.
No. Okay. Have you been close to or do you have any idea how any business at all is run? I want to believe you do.
Yes, ma'am. To some
Okay, to
extent.
some extent. Okay, so what business is that?
Mm, I mean, it's not a business that they make their products by themselves. Or it's just like
It
a
does.
student business.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. A brand that sells perfume.
Okay, thank you. A brand that sells perfume. So, say a brand that sells perfume wants to do value analysis. What would they do? Like, I need you to explain value analysis from the point of view of a brand that sells perfume.
Um, how would I put it? Okay, for value analysis, to some extent, okay, if the brand sees that the demand or probably like sales has reduced, they can run a
Yeah.
value analysis to check if whatever they are selling is of value to their consumers, and if it is otherwise, they can like create a survey or something to know what they want and probably like produce what they want, or probably like how would I put it, add the corrective measures or bring corrective measures so that the customers can actually like derive value from whatever they are offering to sell.
Okay, thank you. I like you're using textbook definition for me. So I want you to go deeper now. Like this is a perfume brand. You meet a customer, maybe the person texted you on WhatsApp and say, I want to buy perfume, and then you did not hear from the person again. So you now saw the person and then the person was like, "Oh, I just felt like you were not offering me enough value for that amount you were requesting for." What would you do?
Okay. If the person Probably like, okay, if probably my price is too expensive for the person, that the person has to go. Can I put it like that?
It's not, I won't say price is too expensive. What is the customer was like, okay, I'm the customer now. I said I paid that maybe you called it 30K for me. And I told you I paid that 30K to Abida's brand. But I just, it was because your own was not giving me the value, and it was the same perfume. What do you think that value, or what do you think you can do to improve?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I actually loved when you said it was not a brand that made what they sold, because as I pointed out earlier, value goes beyond just like what you make. It doesn't have to be that you produce, it could be that you render a service. So now what you do is you sell perfumes to them, right? So it could be that Abida probably gave me one fancy nylon that I liked. Maybe that was like you the first thing that will come to your mind is you should, the first thing there and then you should run the survey. What is that value that Abida gave you that was not, it's not the same perfume we both gave you. I mean, we bought it from the same manufacturer now. Maybe Abida's own came in the box that the company sent. To me, I want to show off to my friends that I got an expensive perfume, right? It could be that, or it could be the nylon, or it could be that she did free delivery, or it could be it could even be the delivery cost. It is, I paid 30K for the perfume. I'll pay 30K in both places, but maybe her own delivery cost was cheaper because she's closer to me, or because she has somebody that does bulk deliveries for her. Do you understand? So the first thing you should be thinking of is, let me run a survey, right? Why you should have asked me why, like I was expecting you to ask me questions. Okay, why did you not want, why did you purchase at the same price from Abida? So I'll let you know why, and then you know what that value that I'm talking about is. Are you with me now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. Anyway, thank you. Now I want to do one more for value engineering. Hi Taiwo, good evening.
Yes, ma. Good evening, ma.
Okay, so give me your own example of a business, any business.
A tote bag business.
Okay, a tote bag, very good. This one, you're even the one making the tote bag, right? So here you want to do value engineering. You're doing value engineering now, not value analysis. Value analysis is because but you want to do value engineering before you start selling the tote bag, right? So what will you do? What are those
Okay, I want
unnecessary?
to do value analysis. What is
No, engineering.
hello?
You want to do value engineering.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I said, are you still there?
Yes, yes, ma.
Okay, so we are waiting for you. How will you do value engineering for a tote bag business that you just want to start?
Okay, that I just want to start.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is the preparation and to also know my target audience.
Okay, no, I don't want you to use textbook definition for me
No,
now.
no, I'm not using textbook.
No, no, I know. I want you to don't use those. I don't want to use those words. Okay, I know you do preparation. I know you do all of that. I want you to, like, talk about. You are talking about your tote bag. You use those terms. What are the things that you want to sell tote bags? So what are those things you look at before you start?
Okay.
What are those
Okay,
unnecessary costs
I
you
will
need?
look at the cost of the material, the
Okay,
cost of the printing, and
okay.
the cost of all those indirect, or how do I put it? Those ones
Mm-hmm.
that I may look at them as something that is not really tangible, but they are essential for the business.
Okay.
So I look at my machines, my
Mm-hmm.
heat press machines,
Okay.
and also my sewing machines. And in the
Mm-hmm.
case if I want to also weave the bags, I will also look at my weaving machines too.
Okay.
So those
I
things
mean,
that I will need.
you're telling me you're looking at them, but why are you looking at them? What are you looking at them for?
Yeah, because those are the things that I will need before I can say, okay, I want to go into this business and I want to deliver quality.
Okay, okay, thank you. I mean, I'll say you gave me half of the answer. Now, yes, you are looking at all these costs, but why are you looking at them? So the first thing you want to do is you want to offer value to your customers, right? That's why you're even looking at it from the beginning. So maybe you look at what is trending currently. What kind of tote bags do they want? Do they want leather? Do they want the one with clothes? So that's the first thing that will even determine the material you are using. Because if they want leather, if leather is what is trending now, and then you used fabric, normal fabric to do your own, you will not make any sales, right? So the first, you are not going to offer them any value then because you did not use the material they want. So you first have to like do your market survey, understand what they want. Do they want the ones with pockets? Do they want the ones that they weave? Maybe they did not weave it. Do they want the one that have zip? You look at all of the, do your market survey first so that you actually know the value that you want to offer to them. Then you now come back. Let's say they want the one with leather, right? So you now go, okay, make sure that you are using quality leather that is still cheap. So maybe you are going to be buying in bulk. If it is cheaper for you to give it outside somebody to sew than for you to sew it yourself, you do that. If it is cheaper for you to, like, there are a lot of things you consider, all those things. Just make sure that first you understand what value you want to offer, and then you eliminate all the things that are not necessary. Maybe you were planning to use zip before, but then you realize that what they actually want is button. You eliminate that zip, or maybe they don't even want it to be closed. You remove that. If they don't want pockets and you were planning to put pockets before, you eliminate all those costs, all those things that are not adding value to it. You remove before you even start producing. That is value engineering. So are we clear on that? Do we understand?
Yes, ma, yes.
All right. I'm asking everybody, are we all clear?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to organization and methods now. So this is the systematic examination of activities in order to improve the effective use of human and material resources. Right. At the end of the day, we are still even talking about the same thing. So all this while we have been talking about cost reduction and value analysis. Make sure you're offering value. Make sure you're offering value. But then when you specifically now O&M is basically a branch under them. Really, you are talking about, okay, you want to make sure that, like, the active, how will you gather your activity, will you gather your resources together? Yes, so this one is more of resource management. How will you gather your resource together, both material, human, machines, money, everything? How will you use them in a way that is effective, that is efficient, that would, like, give, that will offer that value that you want? That's like, that's the point of organization and management. So organization and management is more about resource management. So we have talked about eliminating, materials, costs, even removing staff that are not really working, right? But for you to be able to remove all those costs, remove all those staff, remove all those materials, you have to even understand how you mix them, right? You have to understand how they work. That's where organization and method come in. So it was developed by Taylor and Gilbert, who are one of the pioneers of scientific management, right? So O&M happens in two forms. We have business process reengineering and business process improvement.
Improvement.
Give me a second. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Where were we? Oh, okay. So there are two forms of O&M, organization and methods, right? Business process reengineering and business process improvement. So let's talk about business process improvement first. So business process improvement from even from the concept itself, improvement. You are what you want to improve. Basically, it is improving your business process. So it is like a preventive maintenance, right? It's just like, okay, you want to the process is currently okay. Your business process is currently okay. The way you run things, the way machines work, the way your staff are placed, the way you mix your materials, it is currently okay. But it could be better, right? To reduce, maybe to reduce waste, or to increase the quantity a little bit, or to make sure that, to reduce idle time. Like, it is okay, it is fairly okay from your analysis, or you just want to make sure that you are even getting more out of it. That is business process improvement, right? So you use it when the process is fair, it's okay, it can be, all it just needs is a little improvement for you to get more value. It is just like, it's a way you can put it is just like, adding lubricant. Your machine is still okay, but it just needs a little lubricant, right? So that's basically what business process improvement is, right? So it's just, listen here, you just need to tweak it a little bit, just need to refine some things, and it's continuous. So it is not something, even when you just build something from scratch, you need to keep improving, just like maintenance. That's what business process improvement is. However, for business process re-engineering, you are starting from scratch. It is like, this is when the current process is already like completely broken. Like, it's already too, it's too expensive to say you want to keep on managing it, or to say you want to keep on maintaining it and improving it. There, it cannot even be it cannot be improved anymore. You have to replace it or build it from scratch. That's what business process re-engineering is. So let's take a baking this in for instance. Let's say when you started your business, you were a small business. What you were using before was, I don't know the types of ovens there are or what people use these days. Anyway, let me assume, because I know that there are some people that, they do their baking, those small this and that don't have ovens. People that don't have ovens, they use something. I think it's sand or a hot pot or something. So you use it. So maybe there's nothing, you don't think there's anything wrong with it currently. It can still meet your demands. So all you have to do is make sure maybe you have a better pot, or you have finer sand that will not disturb your product or whatever. But then when you're talking about re-engineering, you want to build a different one from scratch. Maybe that process is, you cannot rely on that again. Maybe you're already getting too many orders, or it's just backdated. Maybe even health officials are saying it is not hygienic anymore. So you want to start another process from scratch. So in this case, you're going to be thinking about getting an oven, or hiring somebody else, or outsourcing something. Like, basically, for improvement, you are still using your current process, but you're just adding minor touches to it. However, in re-engineering, you are starting from scratch, building another thing, or replacing the process entirely. Okay. Um, let me see. So there are 6 steps in organization and method. One, you have to select the area or the process requiring attention. So it might not even be the entire process that needs you to break down, or need, I'm using this baking business today now. So say you have it goes through different stages. I'm not a baker, I don't know, but probably goes through stages of getting your ingredients, and then you have to prep them, you have to mix. After mixing, you put it, place it in the oven for a certain period of time, then you remove it. You have to frost it, right? To frost it, you have to do all of that, and then you have to package it and then send it out for delivery. So it could be that it's only the process of mixing that needs that require your attention, that you need to change. Or it could be that it is only the process of packaging or delivery, or even the process of heating it that needs attention. Do you understand? So that's first thing. You have to select the area or process that requires attention. And you have to record the current situation. So what are you currently doing? Why does it even need your attention in the first place? Then you have to examine and analyze the existing situation, and then you develop and evaluate alternatives. and recommend. So after saying, okay, this is our current situation, so what are the alternatives to it? How can we make it better? How can we improve it? How can we make it more efficient, right? And then you implement the one that you choose, then you monitor it and you maintain it. So that is everything on organization and method. Now, work study. I know when you hear work study, what will probably come to your mind is someone that is working and studying at the same time. In cost accounting, it is a system of increasing or maximizing the productivity of an operating unit by reorganizing the work of that unit. So here, basically, you are looking at how work is being done or what it takes to get that job done and seeing how can I improve it, right? So it just basically from the name study, you're studying how that work is done so that you can improve it and make sure that you're getting better outcomes. So there are two major methods of work study. You have the method study and the work measurement. Method study and work measurement. Let's talk about each of them. So method study. Now method study means recording and critical examination of existing methods, comparing with proposed methods. So as I mentioned earlier, so we've said okay, we have different processes. Now let's say the process that requires this one is say the part where we mix the material. So the current method of mixing is using by hand. So you use your hand to turn it and all of that. You go through all that stress, right? So you monitor it. That's the first stage. And then after you do that, you can now develop an easier way to do it. So maybe you get the mixing machine, or maybe more than one people mix it. However, maybe you sell pounded yam. For pounded yam now, there are people that you still go to some restaurant and you see them pounding it by hand. So then maybe it is sweeter anyway. But then you might decide that okay, you want to devise you have studied the method that they used to produce that pounded yam. That's that's a method study, right? You have studied that method, and then you want to devise a new method for it that you think is more efficient. Work measurement, however, is more concerned with time. So method study is concerned with how it is done, while work measurement is concerned with how long it takes for it to be done. So here you're not even concerned about what if you get if yeah, let's talk about mixing the materials, mixing the ingredients. Realistically, a machine would obviously be faster, but let's assume that maybe the machine is slower than using your hand. But it's okay. You know what? Even if the method seems harder, maybe I can just get more people to join in mixing it. And in this case, I'll not since the machine will be slower. You can look at it that way, too. So it just depends on which one is important to you. But your work study could either be measuring how long it takes or what method are we taking, which one is more efficient, which one gives better results, which one is more cost effective. So that is everything on work study. Any questions so far? Any question?
No, ma.
All right. Thank you. So let's talk about cost audit. Now we already know what audit is. I am assuming you are doing audits this diet. Are you? Okay. Um when you talk about audits, basically you are trying to verify accounts, right? You want to make sure that things are being done as they should and that management is doing what it's supposed to do. So according to CIMA, cost audit means the verification of cost records and accounts and check on adherence to prescribed cost accounting procedures and their continuous relevance. It is a continuous process supporting cost reduction. So it's not just enough to say you want to reduce costs. Yes, you have reduced costs. Management has sat down, they have proposed methods that you can use to reduce costs, right? But how do you now make sure that it is maintained? How do you make sure that it is a continuous? How do you make sure they stick to it? That's where audit comes in. So you even need to um you even need to check why it was, why costs were going out of control in the first place. Who are the employees that are not doing their jobs well? Who are people that are not managing things effectively? That's where cost audits come in. So you verify the cost records. So audits involves going to something called circularization. So you see the cost of raw materials and everything. How can we be buying at this price? You might check with the suppliers. Is it true that we bought it at this price? You want to be sure, did they renegotiate very well, or is there a cut that they are receiving every time they buy? So all of these things are part of audit. Now there are two forms of cost audit: efficiency or performance audit and proprietary audit. So under efficiency or performance audit, you just want to make sure that resources are being properly utilized and costs are not being overstated, as I said. So you want to make sure that okay, they're actually paying what they are recording down for you, right? And they are using those materials very well. They are not wasting them. However, in proprietary audit, you want to make, here it is more management focused, right? So under efficiency audit, we are looking at the people that are actually at the point of processing it and the people that are actually, buying and all of that. But then in proprietary audit, it might be possible that those people that are down there are not being efficient because management is not even doing its job of supervising them well or taking the right decisions. So proprietary audit is focused on management making the right decision. Now, the key difference between financial audit and cost audit. We are sure of financial audit, right? We know of financial audit. Financial audit is where an independent examiner or practitioner comes to check the records and make sure that the financial statements show the actual position of the business, right? That's what financial audit is. Now, it is always statutory, like it is a statutory process. That means it is compulsory for public limited companies to do it. However, a cost audit is not compulsory for them. For financial audits, it must be carried out by an external auditor. However, cost audits can be carried out by internal or external auditors, depending on how much. Because there are times you might actually have your internal audit practice, right? I mean, yes, for financial audits too, you might have internal auditors, but that's not what you're going to like. That's not what the law says. The one for the law is the one that the external comes from. But for your cost audit, you can use your internal, you can use your external. You can say you use only internal and you call it like that will be that, right? So it will be a department inside your organization and they'll be independent of the other departments. Now, timing and focus. So your financial audit is based on past records. So it is, for instance, in 2026, you see auditors carrying out 2025 audits. However, for cost audit, it is a continuous process and it's current. They might even decide to audit forecasts. They might go, okay, you submitted this budget, let's audit it. Where did you get all these figures from? Why did you just inflate prices like this? Do you understand? Then, yeah, of course, financial audit verifies financial accounting records, and cost audit verifies cost accounting records. So, of course, to design an audit program, you need to design for the entire organization, not just each department. You need to update regularly for changes. You need to cover all the three elements of cost, that means material, labor, and overhead, and all other relevant areas. So, for instance, an example now, you want to check, you want to audit material transactions, right? So, you look at the cost of materials and you're like, okay, this is suspicious. You tell the internal auditors to carry out a cost audit of material transactions. So, they are going to check the following areas. They'll check how suppliers are selected. Are they based on, okay, friendship between the purchasing department and the suppliers, or what? You check the material classification and codification. So are they even classifying them very well? Are they, maybe it's because they did not classify them with that costs are unnecessarily overstated. Then economic purchasing practices. You look at stock control and security systems. Are they even storing these materials very well? Look at normal loss estimate. So it is normal for there to be losses during production process, right? There will be wastages, but hope it is like within that normal level. Then you look at material issuing methods. How do they issue material out to the production department? And you look at quality control procedures. So what are the procedures in place to make sure that materials are of good quality? So all these are areas. This is just an example of a type of cost audits that might happen and how you the things that you check. So that is all on cost audits. Please ask me questions before we move to cloud cost management. I take it you have no questions then. But can you still hear me?
Yes, ma, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, when
Okay,
you talk about,
ma,
yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
sorry, ma. I want to ask that all this now, are they really important or related to, maybe if we are talking about costing, consider where can we practice it?
I'm not sure I get your question.
I'm saying that all this work study, method study, that is it still inside our cost account that we can actually practice it? Because I
Yes,
don't really
all these are
understand the.
to do. All these are things you need to do as a cost accountant. So the topic here is cost reduction. So as a cost accountant, you be tasked with the challenge of controlling, managing, and reducing costs. So all these are just like areas under that. Your employer might just tell you, you know what, go and study the methods that these people are using, see whether it is too expensive, or go and audit it. So all these are things that, yes, there are things that can and will be practiced as a cost accountant.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so when you talk about the cloud, when you hear the cloud, it is usually computer related, right? So now the cloud is like, should I say, it is like a storage. Yeah, it is for storage. It is a storage space. I know you, for those that use iPhones, you know about iCloud, right? So like, okay, it's
Yes.
like a storage space that you don't necessarily have to hold. Like, okay, somebody is holding it for you, right? It could be so you pay the owner, the people holding it for you have their memory space. All you have to do is you pay for it. Your information is encrypted in a file somewhere and it's kept with them. And even when you change devices or whatever, whenever you need to retrieve it, as long as they can trace it and you are sure that it is yours, you'll be able to retrieve it. So that's what the cloud is. So a lot of organizations are starting to deal with a lot of information, right? And because of that, they are all moving to cloud storage, right? But then, of course, it will be costly, right? So cloud cost management is basically how to deal with that cost associated with storing your information as an organization in the cloud. So moving to the cloud is desirable, but staying within budget is difficult, right? So sometimes it could be the amount of storage space that you need to pay for, or it could be the computers that you need to obtain for you to be able to access the cloud, access information in the cloud whenever you need it. Could be to get the applications running, could even be to train your employees to be able to use it efficiently. Now, so cloud cost management is defined as the process organizations use to keep cloud costs under control, right? So you monitor usage patterns. So you in this case you only pay for, you make sure that, okay, you don't need to store too much there. So you don't need to pay for too much, right? You track demand fluctuations, you get alert about expensive resources. So maybe you are using a cloud software, or you're paying for a software that like in cloud that stores your information for you, but like there are a lot of features. So this is, they just tell you, oh, there is a new update, and then next thing you know, you're paying for one, two, and stop. So you should be able to get an alert that it something that alerts you, okay, we don't need this. It is not adding any value to us. You don't need to pay for it. One, factors contributing to cloud costs. So one, resource usage, computer power, storage, bandwidth, right? So you could be having unexpected high charges when you are saving in the cloud. So sometimes, yes, there are a lot of things that seem like they sound efficient, but when you look at your own company needs, the size of your organization, where you are currently at, it might not even be offering, you might be spending more to use something that you would have otherwise used if you kept to the traditional model. Okay. Um yes, storage costs, amount and type of storage, data transfer fees. Yes. So sometimes, yes, you are not keeping. Have you ever tried to back up your WhatsApp? like to drive or something. I tried it once, and the amount, I think I had to, I forgotten how many gigabytes of data I had to use that day to transfer it. I mean, yes, if my phone had gotten lost and I needed to change my phone, that would have been very important to me to get those information. But then I now, like, I looked at it and I was like, is there really any chat that is worth spending this amount of data on? And I was like, you know what, I changed my mind, I don't need it anymore. If I lose the chats, I lose the chats. I mean, yes, to someone that probably conducts business and needs all those chats, you definitely have to do that. Like, you won't be able to say I'm not going to. But for me, it's because I was not conducting any business on it. Then auto scaling, handling traffic surges, expensive. But yes, yeah. So another thing is sometimes there might be unnecessary traffic or unnecessary search when you are using, when you are using cloud computing services. So the cost of handling all this, maybe hiring an IT expert and stuff, you have to look at it. Okay, it's expensive, but it also save you costs that you would lose when you cannot retrieve information that you need. Yes, geographic location. So sometimes some people might want to be performative and say, okay, I want to use an international. I mean, I don't think there are many local computing services in Nigeria anyway. But then there are times that something might actually be close to you and cheaper, and you just unnecessarily want to go beyond your geography, which is not done. Then benefits of cloud cost management. One, it eliminates inefficiencies. Yes, you are able to track spending and remove waste. It helps you to allocate costs. So you identify departmental expenses. So you check what each department is uploading. Some departments are uploading more than others, right? So you're able to allocate costs to them efficiently. Budgetary control, yes. Forecasting. So yes, it is also part of when you want to prepare your budget and you want to forecast future costs. Then visibility, so you eliminate duplicate database. So because you are tracking it, and you make sure that you're only paying for what you need to pay for. You won't have to pay for something twice or upload something twice, right? Then you be able to detect, yes, you'll be able to detect inappropriate resources. So optimization strategies, that means ways to even manage cloud cost. One, you remove unnecessary instances. So you turn off unused resources. You don't have to pay for those ones that are not adding value to you. You set rules. So you have like specific people that can control, that can access the cloud, that can access the service. So probably they all have to go through one department. So everybody in the company know that, okay, it is one department that is in charge of handling this. So you don't have too much people just logging in anyhow and uploading or downloading whatever, and at the end of the day wasting costs. Yes, implement auto scaling as we talked about earlier, and schedule demand, right? So you don't always need the service. You don't always need the service. There are times, so the probably some for some cloud computing services, the number of times you use them or access them increases the cost you pay. So you might want to schedule it, based on your information needs. Now, in summary, cost reduction is permanent savings without quality compromise. Value analysis and value engineering is a systematic approach to maximizing value by making sure that you only offer components that are of value to the customers. O&M and work study is to improve efficiency and optimize productivity. Cost audit is to verify structures and ensure efficient operations, while cloud cost management is, yeah, it is important to make sure that you don't spend too much when using cloud computing services. Any questions, please?